So let's start today's class. In previous class, we were discussing line drawing algorithms. So we have discussed what are the output primitives in computer graphics. These are the basic output primitives, which is point, straight lines, circles, curves, polygon, character, etc. Primitives are what is to be generated, and attributes are the how primitive are to be generated. Just what are the characteristic of your primitives. As we have discussed how we can plot a point on a screen, we just turn on our electron beam to eliminate a spot, and set the intensity value. What are the intensity value of that points in a screen? So the value of your coordinates will be 0 to x max and 0 to y max. In between, your point will be reside in screen. And the intensity, what is the intensity of your point? It is black for intensity 1, and for white it is 0. And if you are using any color model, then the set of intensity red, green and blue. Or we can draw a straight line using this random screen system. We just connect 2 points and swept our electron beam in this path. But in raster screen system, we our screen is distributed in different rows and horizontal lines. There is what we can say, there is different cells, horizontal and creating by the horizontal and vertical lines. If we connect these 2 points, then maybe the chance of line will be zigzag or some stair steps kind of structure of your line. And always your line in integer means line number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up to the last line of your horizontal line, and same in the vertical. So there is no line between 1 and 2, 1 and 2, or 1 and 0. Means there is no point value. If there isn't some point value, we have to randomize. We have to approximate. Means we have to calculate the round 10.4. What is the round value of 10.4? This is 10, and 20.51 it is 21. So how we can draw a line? To draw a line, we have equation y equals to mx plus c. As you know, the equation of line y equals to mx plus c, where m is slope of your line and c is y intercept. Here slope of line is this angle, and intercept c means this length. Okay. So y is the slope. The equation of slope, you know how to calculate the slope. M equals to y2 minus y1 x2 minus x1. If we given 2 points, then we calculate the slope of line by this equation. Okay. If we given two endpoints, starting point or end point, then applying this formula, we can easily calculate the slope of your line. We've discussed all this thing. Or we have supposed these two endpoints, then we can calculate the slope of line using this formula. Here x1 and x1, x2, y1, y2. y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Using this formula, we can calculate the slope. This is the equation of your slope. Difference between y and difference between x. If your slope equals to 1, if your slope is equals to 1, then the line, your line, which is you are going to draw with x-axis, angle with x-axis. If it's angle is 45, then m value will be 1. And if it's what you can say in the negative direction, then the value of your m will be negative 1. And if your value is between minus 45 to plus 45, the the value of slope will be less than 1. And if your m is greater than 1 means the angle is minus 40, what you can say, from this is greater than 45. When your m equals to 1 and your intercept is 0, then y equals to mx, the line will be passing from your origin and will be moving in this u. Both the axes is uh, difference is unit interval, means 1 2 3 4 5 6, and the same way here is a unit interval. So again I want to say what is DDA. I will cover all this thing later. Digital differential analyzer is the algorithm for drawing the line. Again I'm explaining this DDA algorithm because it's a very important algorithm in computer graphics or line drawing. Most of the time in exam question comes from this algorithm. Okay, so DDA, which is a digital differential analyzer. What DDA, first we calculate the first step slope of your line. Okay, so the equation for calculating the slope is y2 minus y1 x2 minus x1. Okay, or we can say if pen is okay. One important thing I am explaining here. Suppose this is your screen and there is an horizontal lines and vertical lines. Suppose this is a line number 0. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In the same way, vertical line. Oh, sorry. This is vertical line. This is horizontal line. 0. Horizontal line number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This is your point number 0, 0, and this is your point number 1, 1, point number 2, 2, point number 3, 3, 1, something like this. And in between there is some point. This is xk and yk. Suppose this is the point number xk yk. I choose a random point in a screen, or a random pixel in a screen. We calling it is xk yk. It is a random number I choose and given is xk yk. xk plus 1, meaning xk plus 1 meaning means the next point in your primitives. If it is line, the next point, which point you are going to choose for draw that that attribute, that primitives. If suppose you are drawing a line and your current point is xk, the next point we call it xk plus 1. Which point you are going to select? This point, we are moving in this forward direction, or this point, it may be this point, it may be this point, or maybe this point. Okay, so your xk subscript x subscript k plus 1 means we are talking about the next point. Okay, or xk plus 1 means xk, this is the your current point xk plus 1 means this point, we are moving in horizontal direction. Suppose your xk which is 2, so the next point will be 3, means xk plus 1, xk's value is, current value is 2 plus 1 which is 3. But xk plus 1 means we are talking about the next point, which point we are going to select for that primitives. It may be this point, we will calculate on our y algorithm, or some calculation. It may be your point, this point you select, maybe you point after calculating you point, you select this pixel or you select this pixel. So xk plus 1 means we are talking about the next point, and xk plus 1 means simply we are moving in forward direction. Xk minus 1 means this point. X this is also xk because the value is 2. This is also xk means because the value is 2. This is xk plus 1, xk subscript plus 1, xk minus 1. Okay, is it clear? In the same way, about the case of yk, this is the current point, yk plus 1 means we are talking about the next point which we are going to select. Yk is the current point, y means in horizontal in this direction, yk plus 1 will be maybe this point, this point, this point, this point. It will be based on our calculation. So xk plus 1 will, which point? Xk plus 1 means which point? This point, your sorry, yk's current value is 2 as you can see here, but yk plus 1 means this value. So yk plus 1 and yk subscript plus 1 is the different thing. Okay, here in the same way xk plus 1 or xk plus 1. Okay, this point is telling the next point we are going to select, and this point is telling to the next point, means next one, next what we can say, next pixel. If your current point is this, then if you are moving in the horizontal direction, then next point will be this, and if you are moving in upward direction, then next point will be this. Okay, so yk plus 1 and yk plus 1 is the different. Okay, so I'm again explaining this algorithm once more. Okay, when, so the case after calculating the slope, we calculate the we define some case 1, which says that when m less than 1, okay, this is one. Magnitude of m, okay, less than, it may be a negative. When your m is less than 1, then your x direction move in unit interval. Means if your current point is xk, then next point will be xk plus 1. It's moving in unit interval. In each step it is moving to 1 pixel, xk plus 1. And y moves in with deviation. Y moves with deviation. So yk, sorry, xk plus 1 will be xk plus 1, and yk plus 1 means the next point will be your current point yk plus with deviation which is m slope. We have calculated how this is changing. Okay, if you not clear, I can again calculate why we are telling yk plus 1 will be yk plus m. Okay, if this point is not clear, I am again explaining why I'm saying yk plus 1 will be yk plus m. Okay, again I'm explaining this because the equation of m equals to yk minus y1 and sorry, y2 minus y1 and x2 minus x1, where y2 is suppose next point, then we will say xk plus 1 minus xk and xk plus 1 minus xk, which is m. Okay, the difference between difference between deviation between difference deviation in y and divided by deviation in x. Okay, so where m is less than 1, then xk plus 1 will be xk plus 1, so you can change this value with this, so m will be yk plus 1 minus yk, and yk plus 1 I will change substitute this value here, xk plus 1 minus xk, so xk will cancel out, so m equals to yk plus 1 minus yk, which is yk plus 1 will be yk plus m when m is less than 1. The same thing I write here, yk plus 1 will be yk plus m, or calculate from this equation. Okay, in the case 1 where m is less than 1, the next point is xk plus 1 yk plus 1 will be xk plus 1 and yk plus 1 will be yk plus m. Okay, take case 2. In case 2, where m is greater than 1, magnitude of m, this absolute value of m is greater than 1, then y is moving in unit interval, move in unit interval means yk plus 1 means the next yk point will be your current point plus 1, and x move with deviation means xk plus 1 will be your xk current point plus 1ym. We have calculated in the last class. If it's not clear, you can ask. Is it clear why I am writing xk plus 1 will be xk plus 1ym? If it's not clear, any of you can speak. There is no need to explain again. Is it clear to all of you? Please speak. Unmute your mic and speak.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear
Yes,
now?
sir.
There's no need to
Yes, sir.
explain it. Okay. So when m is greater than 1, the next point xk plus 1 yk plus 1 will be x will change with deviation 1 by m, and yk plus 1 will be yk plus 1. This is the formula. Okay. Case 3. Case 3 is very simple. When case 3, when m is exactly equals to 1, then x and y both move in move with unit interval, means xk plus 1. The next point will be xk plus 1. In same way yk plus 1, next point of y will be yk plus 1. Okay. So you can say the next point xk plus 1 yk plus 1 will be xk plus 1 yk plus 1. This is a simple formula. In the case 1, x move with unit interval when m is less than 1. When m is greater than 1, y move with unit interval and x move with deviation. In case third, both x and y move with unit interval. Okay. Back to your slide. One question I am asking to all of you: why we are choosing when when m is less than 1, we are moving x with unit interval, and y when m is greater than 1, we choose y will change with unit interval. Any one of you can give the answer of this question? Anyone? Why we are why we are telling when m is less than 1, x with x will change with unit interval. When m is greater than 1, y will change with unit interval. And m is exactly 1, then both x and y is changing with unit interval. No? Going. You can see this slide. We are calculating first m. M when less than 1 means when m less than 1, we move in x direction unit interval. When if slope m less than 1, then increment of x in step of 1 pixel and find corresponding value of y. धीरज प्रजापति बोलिए. धीरज. नो. ठीक है. when when m less than 1, we are changing x in unit interval 1 pixel at a time, and corresponding we are finding the value of y. If slope is greater than 1, we are changing y in unit interval, and corresponding value of x we are finding. Okay. So in one direction we are moving, and corresponding next value of x's we are calculating. Okay. See, when m is less than 1, in this first picture, m is less than 1, which axis is changing mode. डिफरेंस।
सर
हाँ, हाँ बोलो
सर
कमल।
वो आपने क्वेश्चन सर आपने क्वेश्चन पूछा था ना।
हाँ हाँ बताइए।
तो सर हमारी जैसे एम की निकालने का जो फॉर्मूला है वो डेल वाई अपॉन डेल एक्स है, मतलब चेंज इनटू वाई इंटरवल अपॉन चेंज इनटू एक्स इंटरवल। तो
हाँ।
जब हमारा एम लेस देन वन होगा तो है
हम्म।
ना, हमारी जो डिनोमिनेटर की वैल्यू जो एक्स की वैल्यू है वो ज़्यादा चेंज होगी। तो
हम्म।
जो डिनोमिनेटर की वैल्यू है वो ज़्यादा होगी हमारे, दैट्स वाई हमारी एक्स की वैल्यू जो है वो बढ़ती जाएगी। और जब
Yes.
m ग्रेटर देन वन होगा तो उसकी जो न्यूमरेटर की वैल्यू है वो ज़्यादा होगी देन डिनोमिनेटर। तो वो जो है y की वैल्यू हमारी कंटिन्यूसली इंक्रीज होती जाएगी, तभी वो m ग्रेटर देन वन होगा।
Okay. Good, good. This is the exactly right answer. What Komal is telling when the time is not. Okay. When m is less than one means what, question of m equals to this. When m less than one means which value is greater, dy or dx? Dx definitely. So change in dx, if we move in change in dx, we will finding the value of x. Suppose you are changing in if the value is less than 1 and you are moving in unit interval direction in y. So here you are here, okay, and you are moving in unit interval direction in y. Then the next point will be this, and corresponding value you are finding the x, okay. So it will this, okay. Then again you are moving here and finding the value. So the line will not in the line there is some gap will created. Maybe in this point there is no value of x, in this point there is maybe value of x and not the value of x, this there is maybe chance of uh, creating gap between this line. Then you will not get a continuous line because the change in y direction is less compared to y x. In the same way, if you move this direction, there is no corresponding value of y will get continuously. Here, how we applying the randomization? Okay, when your point is exact, when you calculating the point, there is some kind of decimal value get. After point, then you get some values means float value, real value. But in your screen, there's no there's no point between two horizontal lines or vertical lines. Okay, so you have to apply some kind of random function. Suppose your exact value of intersect point is this xi yi. You will apply randomize. You will select this point or this point. Which one is near? This is 0.5. So when your value is less than 0.5, you will choose this pixel. This 4%. If your point is your value is after decimal is greater than 5, you will choose this point because this point is near to this pixel. Here, as you can see, this point is near to this horizontal line. So you will select this pixel. If your intermediate points are in between these two integer value, you will select which one is near. Here, this intersect point is near to this horizontal line, then you will select this line, and if near to this, you will select this. Okay, you cannot pass line between these two pixels because always your grid structure in integer kind of structure is 0, 1, 2, 3. There is no between value between these two horizontal lines. There is no point 0.5 line, 0.7 line, 0.5 line. Okay. If slope is greater than 0 means is a positive slope. You can apply this formula for both positive or negative slope because you are calculating the absolute value of m. Okay, when m is less than 1, then you are moving x in unit interval and y in deviation of m, which is slope. And if m is greater than, you are moving y with unit interval and x with deviation of 1 by m in slope. In same way, right here, the equation of line is 1 y equals to 1 by 3 x plus 1. 1 by 3 x means m equals to 1 by 3 x. Okay, let me explain with mouse also. When m is when equation of line is this, then m will be 1 by 3, which is less than 1. Then if your m is less than 1, you are moving x with unit interval and corresponding you are finding the value of y. Suppose your initial point is 0 1 0 1, then you are moving x with unit interval 0 1 2 3 4 5 in corresponding value of y you are finding. Y will be y previous value with division means slope 1 plus 1 by 3, which is 4 by 3, and apply round. 4 by 3 means 1.3, which is after applying the round, this is 1. Then again change with your slope 1 by 3, 8, 4 by 3 plus 1 by 3, which is 5 by 3, which is after round is 2. And again add in 5 by 3 plus 1 by 3, which is 2. There's no need to round. 2 plus 1 by 3, which is 7 by 3. Apply round, which is 2. And to calculating the round value, so the pixel value will be, first pixel value 0 1. Plot this value on your screen. The next pixel value is 1 1 1 1. The next 2 2. Plot 2 2 3 2 4 2 5 3 6 3 7 3 and 8 4. And this kind of line structure you will get. Okay, is it clear? When your value of m is negative, means negative 3, which formula you will apply? Find the absolute value, which is 3. 3 is greater than 1. When your m value is greater than 1, y change with unit interval and x with 1 by m. Apply this formula and calculate. You can easily calculate. Okay. M is less than so this kind of line you will get after plotting this point on the screen. This is the what is the algorithm or implementation of this DDA. I'm not explaining this code to you. You can easily understand. there's given 2 points. The starting point is 2 1 and 12 6. Okay, point starting point is 2 1 and end point. What is the end point? 12 6. Your ending point is 12 6. First, we will calculate the slope, which is y2. Y2 is 6 minus y1, x2 12 minus x1 5 by 10 means 0.5. M is your M is less than 1. When M is less than 1, x change with unit interval means xk plus 1 will be xk plus 1, yk plus 1. Okay, the pen is not working, so I'm just explaining an example just orally. You calculate the M and corresponding value of x will be changed in unit interval, and corresponding value of y you can find like applying the formula yk plus m. Here 2 1 is here and last point 12 6 is here, and corresponding value is between which value you get 3 for 3 you are moving in x with unit interval 3 4 5 6. We calculate the value for value of y. For value of x equals to 3, what is the value of y, which is 2 or 1. Okay, you can get the value with the formula. But for which value you will select 2, only line is passing from this 5 6 7 and all the intermediate value you can easily find. Okay. The same question you can solve with these values as well. Again, one question I missed. You can see on the screen. Starting point is 3 3 and ending point is 23.7. First calculate the m. M is 0.2. After applying this formula, difference in x is 1 and difference in y will be 0.2. The first point is 3 3 actual point, and pixel position is also 3 3. Okay, and one x is changing in an interval, the next point will be 4, and corresponding value of y will be, just add in previous value 3 plus 0.2, which is 3.2. After this, apply randomize, 3.2 randomize is 3, and next point is 5 for x, and next value for y is 3.4 after in the round, which is 3, and all corresponding value you can find and plot on your screen. As you can say, the line is this kind of line will plotted. The same question is done for the when m is greater than 1. Here you can see m value of m is 5, which is greater than 1. Then y will change in interval, corresponding value of x we are finding. Okay, so this kind of line you will get. Okay, anyone of you any doubt? No, this okay, is it clear? आप लोग चैट में फिर पी लिख दीजिए, ठीक है। अब किसी को डाउट हो सकता है ये कि वो लाइन जिगजैग क्यों है, स्ट्रेट लाइन क्यों है, किसी को ऐसा डाउट है अपने? देखिए एक्चुअली लाइन इस टाइप की, अगर कंप्यूटर स्क्रीन कंप्यूटर में लाइन ड्रॉ करते हैं तो जिगजैग लाइन की प्लॉट होती है। आपको रियल एग्जांपल बताता हूँ। When आपने कोई पेंट में लाइन ड्रॉ की होगी, पेन में जब लाइन ड्रॉ करते हैं, जैसे मैं लाइन ड्रॉ करेंगे इस पॉइंट से इस पॉइंट तक, आपकी स्ट्रेट लाइन है, आप इसको जूम कीजिए, लाइन ड्रॉ कर रहे हैं, देखो इस पॉइंट से इस पॉइंट तक लाइन ड्रॉ करेंगे, अब देख रहे हैं लाइन ऑलवेज जिगजैग ही प्लॉट हो गया, इंस्ट्रूमेंट से करना है। जो आपका m इक्वल्स टू 1 होगा, मीन्स बोथ x and y is changing in unit interval, so always your structure like this, means each आपका m इक्वल्स टू 1 है। इस केस में देखिए ये when your m is equals to 1, when your m is less than 1, line will be like this, changing in x direction. You can see more space, means this line is x direction is more. When your m is greater than 1, change in y, as you can see the line length is greater than y direction. When, okay, so this kind of line you can produce in computer. Okay, so just I'm ending this meeting here. अब जिसको भी क्लास ज्वाइन करनी होती है ना, वो टाइम पे ज्वाइन कर लिया करो, बाद में क्लास रूम लॉक हो जाता है, ठीक है, बार आप वेट करते रहते हैं क्लास रूम पे। क्लास टाइम के बाद 5 मिनट तक ज्वाइन कर लिया करो, उसका तुम अनलॉक नहीं करूँगा क्लास बीच में। ओके, किसी को कोई डाउट है डीडीए में? कोई डाउट नहीं है? क्लोज करें क्लास? ओके, थैंक यू।